Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. As you can see, Pebbles could not wait until I sit down. I probably look like I'm in the middle of winter time with my sweater and my blanket here, which by the way, one of you guys actually sent me this. Thank you so much for it. I always feel so unworthy when people send me things. I don't always get to mention it on my channel, but thank you to all of you that send me things. This blanket is so nice, soft, and cozy. It even has my name in the one corner, and I'll try to get some shots in here more up close so you guys can actually see the detail and the time that was put in here. So pretty. Our house was just a bit chilly today. Yesterday we had a beautiful day here in Ohio, and I actually turned our heat down, like the thermostat, and I forgot to turn it back up, so it was a tad chilly in here. That's why I have the sweater and the blanket on me here. My son Kenny just left the house. He's actually on his way to a thrift store of all places. We're planning to do a video together where he will go shop for items for me to repurpose. I don't know if I'll regret this or not, but I have no idea what he's going to come home with. I'm excited about it, but a little bit scary maybe. My niece Emily had come up with that idea. They thought it would be so neat to do a video like that, see how it goes, but there were of course all kinds of jokes flying around, you know, things that he might potentially come home with and make me redo. So I guess we'll see what happens with that, but let's get right into the question. So I kind of got behind in filming a Q&A video. I didn't film one last month. MB was on vacation some of the time. I'm not meaning to blame her. She deserves a vacation, but she's normally the person that gets my questions together for me, and being that she wasn't around some of the time, I just didn't get around to it. So she did get some together here, and here we are. Let's get right into them. First questions are from the styling shelves video. The Faithful Farmer Mama says, I love that you change things often. I do this as well. My question is, what do you usually do with the furniture that you aren't using right then? Do you save it somewhere or get rid of it? I normally hang on to it, like larger furniture pieces especially, unless I know I'm never going to use it again. Like I just have, you know, limited space of course, but I guess some of both. Like some I save and then some I'll sell, usually in the antique mall in that booth where I have some of my items. Sal says, I'm thinking of painting my bedroom set. How difficult is that to do for a beginner? I would totally paint it. Of course, I'm probably the wrong person to ask because I've probably painted everything and anything in my life already. Of course, it's a little bit more to paint because normally you have a couple nightstands and a bed frame and a headboard and a dresser and an armoire or whatever all is involved. But I've had some friends that have done that already and they weren't used to, you know, painting. And I know my one friend that comes to mind, she just did one piece at a time. Like she kind of allowed herself maybe a span of a couple of weeks even if you're not used to it, and if you don't have a sprayer, definitely some more time involved with, you know, removing all those doors and drawers. And I don't know, do you have a space in your basement or garage or just somewhere in your home where you'd actually kind of set it up to do your painting? But it's totally doable. I would say anybody could. It's so worth it. It's just amazing what paint can do. Jackie Wilson says, the piece that you first made, have you considered a redo on it? I think she's referring to that buffet in the kitchen dining area. It was the first piece I ever did that I made a video on here for my channel. And yes, I have definitely thought about redoing it. A little part of me is kind of nostalgic about it, being that it was my first video. I'm not sure that I really want to redo it, but I have really considered. I feel like the symbols that I put on those doors, I'd probably not do that again, because I know one of my boys told me, Mom, that's the Saints, like football. It's almost like their logo. So now every time I see it, that's what I think of instead of the kind of the French country look that I was after. And looking back now, I probably never should have painted it, honestly. I mean, that was probably around 5 years ago when I did that. And I feel like back then I was more apt to just paint everything instead of considering maybe, you know, bleaching it or stripping it and just getting it down to that natural wood. I love that look. And I think that would have been a pretty piece to do that with. Kelly Roth says, I want to paint my lower kitchen cabinets a green color. Suggestions? Yes, I love green. I do have some suggestions for you. First of all, our bathroom cabinets are Filoli Ballroom, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Try to throw the name on the screen here, but that's one of my favorite green colors for furniture. To me, it's a color I don't grow tired of. And then also our one Cottage, Apple Blossom, has green cabinets, like the lower ones, which we don't have above. We just have open shelving on the top, but the cabinets are green. And I'm trying to think of the color, and I'll try to get that on the screen here. I know it's something sage, I think, from Sherwin-Williams. It's also such a pretty green color. I love that for a kitchen. So hopefully that gives you a few ideas, and I'm sure there's many others out there too, but those would probably be my pick. And I see MB did put the bottom comment in here. I always tell her if she has time to go ahead and put some in. It takes a while sometimes to scroll all the way to the bottom of the comments to get those, but I feel it's good for me sometimes to hear. I want to look at it like constructive criticism, although let's be honest, sometimes they're just plain mean and they're not really even constructive criticism at all. But so let's see what it says here. Your shelves are too bare, fake looking. Yeah, I can see where a lot of people would probably think that, but for me here in our home, I have to stick with less is more. Like, I just tend to think something looks way too busy suddenly if I put too much on there. Now I know the shelves in the kitchen or that dining area above that buffet, those are pretty full. I'm not sure I could get anything else on there, but I think being that everything's kind of white on there, I'm able to get away with it. But the one in the living room is definitely more on the empty side, which I love. The next questions are from the Q&A video. Mary says, could you please tell me where to purchase the sweet wallpaper that you use that has the green vines and leaves on it? It's actually behind me here. You probably see it in the video, but one of my favorite wallpapers. And I did get a chance to look over some of these questions before I sat down here. And I'm pretty sure I did some research, and you might have cost me some money by putting this question in here. But I thought I had gotten it at Lowe's, so I Googled it. I went on their website and put in, green and white wallpaper, and so many pretty wallpapers came up. That's probably my weakness, is that green and white together. But anyway, I might end up buying some eventually, but I did not find the one behind me here. I'm pretty sure it was Lowe's, so I'm almost wondering if they don't have it anymore, but I wish I could help you on that because it is such a pretty paper. And I'm officially out of it. Like, I had used it for various projects. I had some left over from this wall, and I'm kind of sad that I can't get it anymore. Deborah Johnstone says, Mary, do you have an Amazon store? When I go to the link, it says the page doesn't exist. We did change those links. I know at one point they weren't good anymore. Normally I just do a copy and paste when I put my information in the description box, or some of it. And for some reason, eventually they kind of expire, I guess you could say, so I had to redo some of the links. Sue Nunn says, is your family near Palestine where the train derailment and chemical spill burn occurred? We are about 2 hours from there. We didn't see anything around here, from that, but I felt so bad for the people there. And just imagine you just don't think about things like that happening, and then when they would, you just feel unsafe, I guess. It's just, really scary, but I guess things like that can happen. Felt bad for the people that it happened to, like the ones responsible, I guess, or not sure how they could have avoided it. Helen Kyle says, did you make the valances in this video? I think in the Q&A, the last one, I had sat in the kitchen table, so yes, I did make those, and I say make pretty lightly because I basically just cut drop cloth. I didn't even hem the edges and just hung it over my rods. So probably the most simple curtains ever. The bottom comment from this video is, whoa, this is very white, LOL. Where are my sunglasses? Oh, was it that bad? Just teasing, but do you realize that if you move around so that the windows are in front of you instead of behind you, this would have the windows behind the camera, that your face will be in the light instead of the shade like you usually do. Just saying, not criticizing. Yeah, I always have an issue with getting my lighting just right, and it's hard for me because sometimes I'm in the mood to sit in these certain places and it just happens that a window might be behind me. But yeah, I'm not, I guess I should be more picky with that and just try to get the good lighting all the time. But hopefully this one today is okay with the, kind of drew my curtains back so I'd have more lighting at this corner. But I also have a new camera that I've been using for probably about a month now. I broke my lens on my other one. And I always use, when I use the other camera, I would shoot in the manual mode. So if the sun would come out, I'd fade away, and then if it disappeared behind a cloud, I'd also fade away in another way, like in the darkness. So it was kind of hard to, I just never really liked how the auto worked on that one. But this one actually does a pretty good job of just having it on the auto mode, and it kind of regulates its own lighting. So hopefully it's better. The next questions are from the Trash to Treasure video. Laurie Ann says, have your kitties ever walked through one of your painted pieces when you were painting inside? It might be cute to have a cat print. Actually, that would be kind of cute, especially on the inside. But thankfully that has never happened, and hopefully it won't. The next question here is, The one thing I love about your channel is you always clean up after yourself when crafting or repurposing something. Do you always do that or just for filming? It is a great habit to get into as to not get overwhelmed with the messes. I try to do that with anything I do. I just learned over the years it's just easier if you clean up right afterwards than later on having to clean up before starting something else, you know, if that makes sense. So I don't always get it done, but I try to, and I think some of the reason I normally do is because I work right here in our home. Like my projects usually take place here where we're trying to live life too, so I really kind of have to clean up, you know, to make room to not have that mess and clutter to be in all the time. Now I know some areas like our workshop, for example, I try to, but I don't always get it done because I think, well, it's, you know, kind of out of the way. It's not like right where we're at all the time. Deborah Anderson says, where did you get those tulips? I love those tulips too. I actually borrowed them from Marlene, my sister. She had them, and I asked her, and she said she got them at the Red Poppy. That's a store here local. It's right in town in Berlin. So make sure if you're ever in the area, check them out. They have some beautiful decorating things. Tammy says, my husband and I are coming from Michigan to stay in one of your beautiful cottages in April. Well, thank you for that. Excited to have you. I can't wait. Can you tell me if there are any Holmes County stores that are currently carrying any of your candles, soaps, body butters, etc. that we could buy while we are in the area? Thank you, from Southwest Michigan. I wish I could send you to a certain store here in the area that would have maybe a booth in there with all my things like the soap, the candles, the crocks, some of the, you know, fabric things, just maybe not everything on Etsy, but a lot of it. But I can't at this point. I just haven't really found a place, I guess. We really need one of those makers markets. And if you're local here and you have an interest in something like that, I would love to hear about it. Like I don't think I'd be able to manage one because I have too much going on, but I wish there was someone that would have a space and we could start a maker's market. I had recently heard about that. I know in Pennsylvania and their Amish country, they have a number of makers markets. It's not quite your flea market or antique mall. It's more your maybe handcrafted, more like physical Etsy shops, if that makes sense. You know, maybe handmade. We do have a few places kind of like that here in the area, but nothing too major as far as a large building where someone could go in and shop, you know, all these different vendors. So I would definitely be interested in that, to have a booth somewhere like that. Just haven't found the right place at this point. But to answer your question, I do have some soap at ADDIE'S. It's in what we would call an Amish store. We have a lot of those in our area. They're kind of your gift shop, general stores. I'm not sure how you'd even describe them, but they have some unique stuff in there. And if you want their address, it's down below in the description box. And then in the antique mall in Walnut Creek, I do still have some items, mostly just some candles and books at this point. There's another girl that kind of took over my booth. She does an awesome job too of, you know, repurposing. She often takes small items and paints them or gives them character. But yeah, she has lots of neat things there in the booth. And then sometimes if I, you know, do a trash to treasure video or just have some furniture pieces, I'll put them up there too. But there you'd find some candles, but again, can't really just send you to a place where all of that would be. I don't have the body butter anywhere. We do have it on the Etsy shop again, where we've been out of stock for a while, but we do have that back in stock. But hopefully someday I can actually give you a location where I would love to send you to an actual brick and mortar store, but I kind of doubt that will happen anytime soon with what we all have going on. Lauren Curtis says, I noticed you were painting against the grain when you were doing the ice cream bucket. Does it matter one way or the other when painting, if against or with the grain? And I hope this doesn't end as a bottom comment. It is not criticism at all. That's funny. I did not once think it was criticism. I think we can all kind of detect if it's actually criticism or just an honest question. I think with that bucket, if I remember correctly, it had those bands out around, and I think I kind of went with the bands versus running my brush down and then my paint getting caught up in that band. That's probably why I went against the grain. And since we are talking about it, behind me here is that bucket. It's got a plant on top for now. And the bottom comment is Amy Mills saying, why put words on everything? I like to see words on decorating pieces. I mean, I don't put them on everything, I don't think, but I just think it adds character and it just kind of draws your eye maybe to a certain piece or accent piece in a room. It's probably not everybody's taste, but I like it. The next questions are from the spring home tour video. first one here is Jackie Wilson saying, I noticed the plant that you put in the lantern. Did you make that or buy it? I love the idea of adding a plant to it. I bought that, I think at Walmart, of all places. They sometimes have pretty plants, and Marlene and I joke about it. We often feel like we're rescuing the plants if we buy them from Walmart, because often they look a little sorry looking or just not quite taken care of, like you'd find in a greenhouse maybe. Alita Monty says, interested in the t-shirt you are wearing at the end of the video when you were showing the curtain fabric. Where did you get it? I had to look that up to see what I was wearing, but one of you guys actually sent me that. It's one of my favorite t-shirts, so I can't tell you where she got it, but it is a really pretty shirt. Jag finner hinna en eken Q&A filma. My son Ephraim came home from school early today. They had an early release. The next question here is Barbara Pate asking, is your white quart stoneware pitcher food safe? And also, when will you have more body butter? Body butter is now back in stock on the Etsy shop. We actually have some new scents, and they are kind of adorable, honestly. And I know I fuss about this body butter, but it's something I couldn't be without. And I know my mom is a... Yeah? Kenny just told me that MB will be going with him to the thrift store. She'll be doing the filming, so that'll work out great, I think. So where was I here? The body butter. I think I was saying how mom is always, she says she can't be without. So make sure to check that out. And then the white quart stoneware pitcher. I'm trying to think which one I showed in the video. I have a couple of them that I have floating around here, and I'm pretty sure both of them would be food safe to use. The next question, where did you get your bed headboard from? That is actually from Wayfair, I believe. Trude Arleno, probably not pronouncing that correctly, sorry, but she's asking, how's your huge pond doing? It's pretty good, actually. I should give you guys an update in one of these upcoming videos, especially if we do some outside work. Mary Elliott asks, Mary, do you also decorate your son's bedrooms? For the most part, yes. I mean, it's probably because I did it when they were, younger. Their rooms are just kind of staying the same, but now and then they're going to add something, but for the most part, I would have decorated them. And the bottom comment here is Lolita Bonita saying, is that a miracle or what? She changed her introduction. Oh boy, much, much, much better. Finally, she listens to the voice of wisdom. I'm not even sure what kind of introduction I used in that video. Honestly, I just kind of do whatever I'm in the mood for at the time. I know I change them up all the time. Sometimes I don't even have an introduction. And I can't really recall that anybody ever told me like what introduction to use. So I'm probably not really listening to the voice of wisdom, probably just kind of doing what I want to do, which I'll probably continue doing. And the next questions are from that cooking video that I had done, or the canning video. Karen is asking, after canning the soup, how is it stored and how long does it last? Normally I put soup or meat, anything like that, on the floor in the basement. Like the cement is often cooler than, up on a shelf maybe. I know Mom always did that. And as far as how soon you should use it, I know a year is like a good thing to go by. I mean, I've used things that are older than a year. I just make sure when I open that lid that it's still fastened hard, like it's really hard to open, and you can always smell right away if something isn't, good anymore. But I'd say, a little over a year, you should still be good with soup like that. So you kind of want to monitor if you do some canning. You want to think how much your family would use in a year, or that's how I try to go by. Gary is asking, I was wondering what is the brand of your cookware pieces? That is Towncraft. I've had it for years. You guys probably saw that I had some handles missing in past videos, but I have recently gotten new handles, and it's awesome. Again, I can't see how I did without. The bottom comment from that video is, I want to know why you call these recipes healthy. They are a flour fest. Almost everything you made here was full of flour. Well, I think if you buy good flour, you're okay with using flour, or we don't have any, there's probably cases where people shouldn't eat flour, but I try to buy, good flour that is relatively healthy. I don't know, can you guys hear that water behind me? I have my little water feature going, and it's actually making me drowsy, I think. It sounds so peaceful. I love the sound of water. So I had to change my battery. Back again. Lori Ann says, what about painting your fruit room white? That would brighten it. Maybe it would enable you to see things better too. It would be easier to do before all of your shelves fill up too. I agree with that. I did think about it. It's probably just taking the time to do it, but now would be the time to get it done, to, like you said, before the shelves are full. Jane is asking, do you store any items in the other building, or is it just a wood workshop? For the most part, that white shop where the Etsy shop is on the one end and then our workshop is on the other. I have a few things there on the shelves that I store, but for the most part, the storage, like the furniture, excess furniture, is for the most part in that brown building. Pebbles, no, no. She chews on one of my plants sometimes, the spider plant. No, no, kitty. And the bottom comment from that video is Peggy saying the organizing part was interesting, but the 15-minute ad was not to my taste. Well, I have no control over what kind of ads YouTube puts in my videos, unfortunately. I don't care for some of those ads either. The next questions are from the early spring porch video, and Bonnie is asking, does John ever complain about helping you? It seems like he is so supportive of your projects and always willing to help. I love that. I love that too. He is actually, for the most part, really willing to help me. And sometimes if he's not, it's probably my fault, like it's something so far out, like it makes more sense to not do it. So I can't complain about that, definitely. Carol Green says, what are your favorite handheld trimmers for cutting down dead growth on plants and shrubs? I actually have a favorite that I love that is from Amazon. I mean, it's nothing fancy or expensive. I'll link it down below in case you want to check it out, just the handheld pruner. And then I have a large one with that you have to be like two-handed to use. And I think we had bought that locally here in a greenhouse, but I'm pretty sure, any, Lowe's or Walmart, those places would have them too. But I like those for little branches, to clip larger things. Teresa Camp says, as good as you and your husband are at woodworking, why don't you make another computer table, one for inside and the other for outside? Well, that's a good idea. You're probably referring to this one here as normally on the porch. I had to actually bring it in to use it today, so it would be kind of handy to have one on the inside and outside. Now during the winter I do have this one inside all the time, of course, but during the summer it would be handy. I had to resituate a bit. I think our house is heating up. I got kind of warm, but let's get to the bottom comment here. Is Ruth saying, please, no ads. Well, did you know there's a version of YouTube that you can get that you don't have to watch ads? You can actually upgrade your account to maybe a premium version and you don't have to watch any ads. You're going to pay every month for it, but if you don't want ads, you're probably going to have to do that because any YouTube channel that you watch that is monetized is going to have ads on it. I look at it differently than what I used to. Now, don't get me wrong, I hate some of the ads that are out there. It's not just on YouTube, but elsewhere too. Very inappropriate, but we can't really control that, I guess. But I just look at it differently as far as I know how much time is put into editing and making videos. And I always feel like that's the least I can do to support a YouTube channel is by watching the ads and just not complaining about them, I guess. But I know I'm going to look at it differently than most people because I have my own channel, like I know how it works. But I totally don't blame you if you don't like the ads, so definitely upgrade to that other version so you don't have to watch them. And the next questions are from that cabinet makeover. Trudy Basin says, I thought that cabinet needed to be burned, but you made it look so nice, beautiful. Well, thanks. Can you tell us how much it cost for the remake? I did write some things down here because I was kind of curious myself. Now, it is kind of hard to really calculate because I didn't use a whole roll of wallpaper. I ended up spending $20 for my wallpaper, only used a small portion of it, and then same goes for the paint. It was just paint I had around here, but I imagine I would have paid $15 to $20 for that quart and just also used a small portion. And the glass knob was $12.60 from Amazon. So that altogether would probably be around $50, which isn't bad for a cabinet like that, but I think it would even be less, being that I have all that wallpaper and paint left over. But it's always kind of interesting to see, how much things cost. And I guess that little design that I put on the header, that would have been the mold too, and just a little bit of the air clay that I used to make that. Judy Batts says, do you put extra sealer on a piece for outdoors? Sometimes I do, but I didn't for this piece. It is under the roof, although with blowing rain, I'm sure it could get hit, exposed to some elements, but we'll see how it holds out. I can always add it later if I think it needs it. N.E. Swede says, you've probably been asked this a million times, but do you typically paint with latex base or an oil-based paint? I know you like the Do It Best brand. I do like the Do It Best brand, and that's probably largely due to the fact that our local hardware carries it, because I know there's other good brands out there too. And I always get the latex for any project for the most part. I don't like oil-based paint. And the bottom comment here is Donna saying, no cloth curtain, too tacky, and it dates it. Yeah, I kind of like to see that though, depending where it is. And I didn't incorporate that into my little cabinet, but I like to see it maybe under a sink, like one of those old farmhouse sinks with a little cloth curtain in the front, or you know, some pieces of furniture I think look good with that fabric curtain. But I agree, it does look old-fashioned. I guess that's probably why I kind of like it. The next questions are from the Cottage Mantles video. Jane says, are the bird pictures just sitting in the jars, or are they Mod Podged? They are just sitting in there. I just printed them out and stuck them in. Yvonne Brown says, just wondering if you use floral foam in the wooden box. No, I did not. Pamela Smith says, where did you get the bench in front of the fireplace? I believe that one, I mean, I was in both cottages, but I bet you're referring to the one with the pretty botanical print on it. That comes from Andrea's Furniture. It's in Sugar Creek, Ohio. If you're local here, you know where I'm talking about. And the bottom comment here is SL saying, not a fan of the mantle painted. Ugh, why? I thought the theme of those cottages are rustic. You have to remember that your customers like a rustic looking mantle and like the way it looked. If you are going to make those cottages like your home, you might as well live in them yourself and not rent them out. Decorate what your customers like and not what you like, Mary. This is a business. I knew I was going to get some static somewhere on painting that mantle. I don't regret painting it though. I love to see it, and I imagine a lot of the people that are staying there hopefully like to see it too. And I'm sure there's still a % that would have preferred the other way, but I don't think it's that big a deal. Like either way, I think it's going to look okay. And I just didn't care for that orangish hue that they kind of had. I guess that's why. If it would have been a pretty brown color, I think I would have kept it. But I felt like they kind of turned orangish on us. So that's basically, yeah, why I painted them. I think we all have a different vision when we think of maybe cottage, the cottage theme. Like for myself, I think, you know, white walls, maybe some shiplap, minty green painted surfaces, some natural wood, you know, wood floors, florals, just that cottage core vibe, you know, going on. And I know, again, we all think differently when we imagine these things, but it's actually kind of hard if you build something new. It's kind of hard to incorporate that into a new building, I think. Like I feel like kind of reached it in the cottages, but maybe not entirely. It's just not quite there yet. Maybe with time, you know, as I add more things, I can get that exact look like that I want, but I still think they're pretty and they're cozy, and that's what counts. So I guess we all have different opinions when it comes to that. So that's all the questions for today. Thanks for hanging out with us back here in my little plant space. As always, I hope your day is going great, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.